Good morning, team. It is 9:59. Here to help. We're going to get together here in just a minute, go through some actionable opportunities for all of us to move forward into 2025. And we're going to do it with an essential employee relocation. We're going to move forward with a listing-centric culture, meaning want to focus on the listing inventory with you and your realtors so that your pre-qualifications have something to buy. That's not to say that we're not in the purchase referral business. Of course we are, but we've learned this year that in fact the buyer side purchase referrals are coming directly from the listing agents. And in fact, the listing agents and the teamerages, the teams that run brokerages inside of brokerages, are controlling a lot of those buyer referrals. So we want to help you with that. We're going to break it down for you over the next 30 minutes. This is not a certification. Our certifications are free, and they're every Wednesday at noon. They're also available online on demand at herobenefitsnetwork.org. So if you haven't been certified yet, go ahead and do that. This is not an orientation either. Devin kicks butt with all of the granular marketing materials, social media, video scripts, amazing support, cover letters, prospect lists. Everything is covered on orientation. But on Monday mornings for our mortgage bankers, we just focus on actionable opportunities that center around our 501c3 charitable giving and the affordable housing crisis. So when you talk about $5,000 in down payment assistance or $10,000 in relocation grants, those relocation grants are all about listings. And the DPA is all about buyers. So I want you to think about your community and how many essential employees work in your community and live in your community. I truly believe that if we suspend our disbelief, disconnect from our, fear of the unknown, this truly is one of the easier ways that you can serve realtors, serve title companies, and serve essential employees. By creating a Hero Benefits Network division in your mortgage brokerage or in your mortgage bank, you will have another tool to attract sustainable, productive relationships with realtors. So today, little background. I'm 40 years in the real estate business, give or take. And I started doing essential employee relocation in the 80s and really grew it in the 90s and into my career. From a mortgage mathematics standpoint, we're only talking about 25 basis points for your cost. Most of us can create a comp bucket and just do all the deals in that comp bucket. So if we had a comp bucket that exercised 25 bips for the hero, we would be able to attract realtor purchase in a completely new, different, unique, sustainable manner. So we are going to dig into that for just a few minutes. Devin Pinches is available every day, 1-800-299-WORKS. Randy Nemiroff is out beating the bushes with national partners to connect our essential employee relocation agents to our HR directors across the country. Carrie runs all the operations and technology, and I run the sales side of things. But a quarter point at closing. That's essentially what we're talking about here. And a lot of people have made a big deal about compliance and about the nuance of it. But I've been doing it for 40 years. It's not difficult to pledge a quarter point on a closed funded transaction. What we essentially do is we take your quarter point, combine it with a referral fee from the realtor that is paid to us, and a title insurance agency pledge that when you combine all three of them together, your $750 a file doesn't make much of a difference unless it's combined with $3,000 from the realtor and $1,000 from the title company. That's why the down payment assistance and the relocation grants become so lucrative. And we know that the fire department, the police department, the school board, teachers union are all struggling to find employees. We know that University of Central Florida, one of the largest universities in Florida, canceled their education department because none of the kids coming into college wanted to be teachers anymore. So we're learning that, underemployed essential workers are not being paid enough to purchase a home in the communities that they serve. We believe there's going to be a huge uptick in March based on the idea that the interest rates might dip down a little bit. But we know that without a one-stop shop, your sales funnel doesn't have any guardrails. Your sales funnel doesn't have anything sticky to it. But when you add the down payment assistance, it's a very easy calculation. So we add your 25 bips to the contribution that the realtor is making and the contribution that the title company is making, so that it's a pretty substantial down payment assistance that never runs out, never has to be repaid, doesn't use your credit. It's not a loan. It's just a grant. It's just a free gift from Hero Benefits Network to the teacher at closing. And we believe that these relocation grants and these down payment assistance programs on their own will attract enough business to justify your commitment. We've been doing this for 40 years, and we've taken thousands, literally thousands of listings using relocation grants as the juggernaut to beat out all the recipe cards and free CMA offers and all that bullshit that the sellers get. You just flat out get a coupon or a voucher good for up to $10,000 to sell your house. You might call. Now, I want to talk about an MLO who paid us $225 a month. The way that they paid us is they did a $125 donation to the Hero Benefits Network to buy a zip code. And then this MLO joined Works Partner for $100 a month. I'm sorry, it was $125 for Works Partner, $100 a month for the zip code. So it totaled $225. Well, the Board of Realty agreed to a nonprofit HBN monthly meeting. Title Partner agreed to a nonprofit HBN monthly meeting. So that was 2 realtor engagement meetings a month that are happening now for just $2.25 a month. So in January, we're doing 2 sessions of essential employee crisis and how to help, one at the title company and one at the Board of Realty. And then in February, we're doing List to Last 2005 Realtor Roadmap with Hero Benefits Network. And in March of 2025, we're doing Agents in Action, which captured 4,800 realtors in the last 6 months or something like that. So ridiculous amount of charisma on these 3 topics that are going to rotate throughout 6 events in the next 3 months. Probably guesstimating based on the Board of Realty, we're probably talking about 90 realtors will attend over the next 3 months. That's 30 a month, roughly. So sometimes you go to lunch and there's only 6 people there. Sometimes you go to lunch and there's 20 people there. Sometimes you go to breakfast at the title company and there's 10 people there. But it's about consistency, right? So I want to compare that to another MLO that hired a business development loan partner for $3,000 a month. So, this MLO on the left paid us $2.25 a month. This MLO on the right paid $3,000 a month for a business development partner. And they had to cover the HR benefits and the training expenses. The MLO that I know took time out of their day to invest 60 hours shadowing and training this business development partner. And at the end of 4 months, they had no production, added no production. They ended up firing the business development partner after spending about $12,000 in their own money. And then they had to start over because they knew that realtor purchase follows realtor engagement. They knew they were too lazy and disorganized and apathetic to actually do the realtor engagement on their own. So they hired a realtor engagement loan partner for $3,000 a month, and it still never produced any business. But when we spend 10% of that, instead of $3,000 a month plus benefits and training expenses, we just spend $2,250 a month, and you get 5 experienced business development managers on your staff. You can pick up the phone, call our 1-800 number, text us, call my cell phone number. We've got, a combined, 140 years of experience in residential real estate, and that's no joke. We've got people that have been selling real estate and mortgages for 35, 40 years each, and they're here as the liaison for business development with your realtors. So just think about that for just a moment in the context of, your options. Hell, I know one MLO that's got a bus bench in town that costs her $300 a month, and that bus bench never brought her a deal. Not one deal. All the years she's been doing it. But it's just a crazy mechanism for me to build one-stop shops for realtors all over the country, where there's a title company, a mortgage banker, and then about 50 realtors. Think about that. If over the next 3 months together, we brought 90 realtors into your portal, and 15 or 20 of them became loyal realtor referral partners, that's pretty sexy. You want proof positive in the mortgage mathematics, just go do your own math. Okay, what I mean to say is, if you studied what your buyers and borrowers did after you pre-qualified them during the last 36 months, you might not be within a point or two of my numbers. You might be way better than my numbers. I don't know. You might be way worse than my numbers. But at the end of the day, these numbers are still the numbers. So if you can prove to me that more than 74% of your leads that you buy talk to you, ours is 74% voice to voice. But when a realtor refers us, the numbers go up exponentially compared to LendingTree or Zillow or Realtor.com, right? So when we go out and curate a borrower, and it costs us, $500, and then months of follow up, and we might get a pre-qual, we might get a credit pull, we might get a 1003. But even after a 1003 and a credit pull and documentation processing, only 4% of them ever went to contract, and only 2% of them ever went to funding. So when we can trumpet a realtor referred purchase one-stop shop over other opportunities to pay $300 for a bus bench, or $5,000 a month for leads, or whatever the heck you were doing in 2022 and 23 and 24. Now we look to 2025 to say, what if we could create some golden handcuffs and golden guardrails around our sales funnel and create some camaraderie, some culture, and some collaboration with our realtors. So instead of having an arm's length referral relationship, we have an intra-dependent, sustainable partnership with dozens and dozens and dozens of realtors in our marketplace. So to be specific, what we're proposing for you as a mortgage banker is to just do something realtor engagement with us. We do it with our title companies and the board of realty. We see the title company, the real estate partner, mortgage banker as one unit, one-stop shop. And that's why the Hero Benefits Network is more valuable than RE/MAX, and more valuable than Century 21, and more valuable than Call Banker, and more valuable than Prudential, and more valuable than LPT and EXP to the realtor. See, none of those brands will create loyalty with a customer. Nobody stays with RE/MAX because there's a red, white, and blue balloon. They stay for value, right? And when we can create a one-stop shopping experience with your mortgage, real estate, and title with a down payment assistance program, we find that one-stop shop becomes more valuable than, say, the Fairway independent logo. In fact, we polled many borrowers, and they didn't really acknowledge the brand of the mortgage bank. None of them did. I mean, we've closed thousands and thousands and thousands of transactions with essential employees and listings and buyers. And what we found is none of them cared if they were doing business with Remax or Century 21 or Coldwell Banker. They only cared if what's in it for them, right? So it could have been, you could have went with Cross Country, you could have went with AnnieMac, you could have went with Fairway, you could have went with Movement. They didn't care. It wasn't the brand of the mortgage company that made them want to do business with the mortgage company. Instead, in our situation, it was the collective relationship to a more powerful one-stop shop. That's what they were buying, is the convenience. Now, we harp on mortgage metrics because we know that you would spend a lot more than 25 bips to get a deal closed. You know, if you were going to go consumer direct in 2025, you would have to lay out money up front, thousands and thousands of dollars, to find out if 2, 3, 4, 5, 6% of those transactions would go to closing. With Hero Benefits Network, you pledge 25 bips and you don't have to pay before closing. Okay. Now, of course, you can take a zip code for $100 a month, and we recommend it, but you don't have to go into any brokerage-wide MSAs. You don't have to pay desk rentals. You don't have to buy Zillow leads. You don't have to share lending tree leads with realtors. You're just getting realtor referred purchase from the 25 to 50 realtors in your market, and that's why you pay the 25 bips. So you're giving yourself a separate comp bucket for 25 bips because you're trading upfront costs with back end costs. You don't have as much upfront cost. You're just eating the 25 bips out of a different comp bucket. And that's just the way the math has worked. That allows us to promote you and your 25, 30 realtor referral partners to our cops, to our firefighters, to our military personnel. And we know after decades and decades and decades of doing this, that those HR directors at the Chicago Teachers Union or the Police Benevolent Association or the Firefighters Union will honor you personally and your one-stop shop by promoting you to their firefighters, to their teachers, to their police officers, and any essential employee, whether it be a hospital district employee or a university employee. You know, you may have seen in our social media over 1,400 realtors have already been certified with Hero Benefits Network. And in fact, Sotheby's, EXP, LPT, Remax, and Keller Williams have all joined the Hero Benefits Network during the last 30 days. We were approved for compliance with 3 of the largest mortgage bankers in the country this month. And we just got started in March of 2025. I've been doing this since 1986, but the nonprofit achieved full 501c3 in March of 2024, and we were only able to reach donation status in August. So, you know, when I look at your market, I quickly go to the Board of Realty and I find out where their zip code is. Then I call the membership director at the Board of Realty, or if my Board of Realty has an essential, an education director, I'm going to ask them if a nonprofit can come in and do a lunch or a breakfast. And you know what? Because we're a nonprofit, they say yes. And I've toned this down for you, but we just showed you earlier how we're doing, 2 lunches a month with this one MLO. We're hoping for 90 realtors over the course of 90 days. But if all you achieved is half that and you had 15 realtors come to each lunch, that's a pretty substantial initiative for the first quarter of 2025. I think you and I could become friends if only a third of the realtors that came to our events in 2025 really fully graduated and went on to nurture essential employee relocation in that marketplace. You would simply graduate the first 3 months with 15 new referral partners. I keep saying this word golden handcuffs or golden guardrails, or we tease about the use of force or the use of leverage or the use of contractual agreements, like a written buyer brokerage agreement. It obligates that consumer to you. Why I want to stress this is because the funnel starts with the realtor and immediately is required to move to the mortgage banker to find out how much of a grant the consumer qualifies for. That's the sales funnel. So if there were 15 agents in your market nurturing essential employee relocation, and you were the only benefactor of that work, you're the person who draws the lines between sales and service. You're the conduit to bring a promotional voucher all the way up to and through a certified voucher, meaning that they're going to get the money now. So we can't do that without a mortgage partner to help us calculate that. So we need the mortgage banker to know how much the consumer is going to qualify for and then match up a voucher with that. Then we certify the voucher and send it out to the realtor and the consumer and the mortgage banker. So you basically would end up with exclusive relationships inside of your Hero Benefits Network division in your county. Secrets to our success, realtor purchase always follows realtor engagement. At the bottom of your screen, realtor purchase always follows realtor engagement, right? So affinity relationships don't work that well. I mean, I've got $60 billion in affinity transactions closed in 40 years through different affinity programs across the country with different mortgage bankers doing affinity programs. Like PRMG has a beautiful affinity program. Cross Country has an affinity program. I think most of the major mortgage bankers in America have affinity programs where an MLO can go ahead and put their comp in the affinity program to reduce their comp just a little bit to participate in the affinity program. But most MLOs never approach the consistency level with their affinity partners to make any difference. Well, now by putting your realtor referral partners inside of your affinity partnership, that's because the HR directors promote us for free. The real estate referral partners collaborate, and we use our own invitation and ticketing and promotions to automate the business development for you. Remember that example where my friend up in Jersey hired a business development manager for $3,000 a month, paid him $12,000 over the first 4 months, and didn't do any business, and then ended up firing him. What we're doing differently is we're using the desperate Board of Realty to host lunches for our nonprofit. Every Board of Realty in the country is desperate for members right now, and most of them are competing with another Board of Realty nearby. At least in my markets, they are. So they're desperate for value. I won't say desperate, but thirsty. Very thirsty title companies will share the burden for our realtor events. We will not have to buy the Krispy Kremes for breakfast. The title company will. We will not have to, do all the promotion ourselves. The mortgage company, the title company, and the realtors will all promote it together. And maybe the biggest surprise for us over the past 3 months is how much our third-party endorsements and promotional campaigns are paying dividends for our members. We never even factored that into our value proposition. We didn't think, you get a zip code for $100 a month and you're going to get third-party endorsement and promotional campaigns. But what we learned from a guy named Jason Smith up in upstate New York, near Clayton, New York, I think it was, Watertown, New York. We watched this one realtor spending, $3,000 a year or some shit with one of the dingbats from Shark Tank. And he gave her $3,000 a year for a third-party endorsement and promotional campaign. But she didn't do anything. She took a couple pictures with him, and she said, "Hey, this guy's a good realtor." Well, that third party endorsement and promotional campaign for $3,000 a year does pay dividends. And that we just learned about. We didn't know that realtors were paying like rascal flats for an endorsement. We never calculated that in. But when the Hero Benefits Network endorses you to the realtors, and we do a promotional campaign for you, about you to the realtors, that third party endorsement and promotional campaign is worth way more than a bus bench. Okay. Way more than a Barbara Corcoran endorsement. I mean, in the marketplace, right? Because the truth is, I don't know if that was her name. I can't remember that lady from Shark Tank that squawks about it and smokes cigarettes all day. I don't know her name, but she seems to be $3,000 a year valuable to this kid, Jason Smith. But is she really producing anything for him? Well, if you take the desperate boards of realty that'll go out and promote your lunches for you, you take the thirsty title companies that share the burden of realtor events with you, and you take the third-party endorsement and promotional campaigns from Hero Benefits Network, combine it with the normal stuff that we'd already been doing, and you got a pretty damn good setup. You could do a works partner role for $100, $125 a month, and then you could do a exclusive zip code for $100. I mean, that's pretty strong total immersion affinity for $225 a month. So we're excited to bring it to you. And if all we achieved by St. Patrick's Day was 15 committed real estate referral partners in 90 days, I'll bet you never quit HBN. I bet you don't cancel that, because what we're finding is 15 new realtor referral partners in March of 2025. We're forecasting about 40 to 48 transactions to come out of that. And we'll even grant you first right of refusal on some additional zip codes, counties, or states, because once your one zip code your one exclusive zip code is productive, you'll want to add zip codes, counties, and states, but you'll never want to do that. I can promise you this. You'll never want to add zip codes, counties, or states if you didn't do the first 3-month ramp. Realtor Affiliate Marketing Program. Realtor Affiliate Marketing Program. Realtor Acquisition Marketing Program. RAMP. R-A-M-P. If you ramp up your realtor referred partners by March of 2025, you'll enjoy the extra 3 or 4 deals a month from those realtor referral partners in the spring and summer of 2025. That's our premise. That's our story. We're sticking to it. Imagine the golden guardrails of your sales funnel when the essential employee relocation comes through the Hero Benefits Network, goes into your real estate agents. Those real estate agents are required to send those consumers to you. Now, every essential employee enjoys 100% freedom of choice, but the incentives, rebates, down payment assistance, relocation grants are contingent upon using in-network real estate agents, mortgage bankers, and title companies. So when the funding happens, at that point, you give away 25 bips. So I always like to open it up to questions. Nobody really ever questions this because the formula is just a serious call to action. In other words, yes, we're going to give you the third-party endorsements. We're going to give you the promotional campaigns. We're going to give you the essential employee relocation prospect hot list. We're going to give you the database of the realtors. We're going to show you how to talk to an employee and as an education director or a membership director at the Board of Realty. We'll even have those conversations with you to set up these luncheons or these breakfast events. But if you want 4 additional transactions per month starting in spring, we must use the entirety of the RAMP, Realtor Acquisition Marketing Program, over the next 90 days to get you to pay dirt in March of 2025. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. It's 10:29 a.m. on Kita Coaching Mortgage Mathematics every Monday at 10 a.m. We hope you'll put the good work in to get these transactions moving in 2025. You can call me anytime at 954-695-2314. Write that down. It's 954 area code down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 695-2314. And as always, you can call 1-800-299-WORKS. 1-800-299-WORKS. Thank you very much.